What sexual activity is immoral even when everyone involved is a consenting adult? There was a case when a woman on Craigslist advertised that she wanted to be murdered. It was a sexual fantasy of hers, and then someone wrote back to her they met up. And he killed her. So many of these fetishes in the top comments are things you can only do once. I kinda want my kink to be something I can do every other weekend. I have a fetish for even-numbered Saturdays. That's not odd at all. Op has a kink, but they can't quite put their finger on it. They should try putting it in it instead. I wouldn't advise it if it's immoral. Sex when you're supposed to be doing something important, like flying the plane, open heart surgery, or looking out for a serial killer who started killing again recently in your local area. Or looking out for a serial killer. That's why O.J. Simpson hasn't had sex in almost 30 years. Gotta find the real killer. Also why he was afraid to go back to California. Nicole's killer lived out there. Bug chasing. I'm scared to add that to my search history. Care to explain what bug chasing is? Deliberately trying to get an STI, especially HIV. Thank you for the odd truth I requested to know. They seek out people known as gift givers who have HIV and get off on deliberately infecting people. I guess it's marginally better if they are infecting people who want to be, though there's an argument to make about the mental health and possible diminished responsibility of the bug chasers. This is only part of it. A lot of chasers get the thrill from sex with an HIV-positive person but don't actually want to get HIV, so they seek positive undetected people. As well, the chasers usually take PrEP, which reduces the chance of infection. It's not so much about getting HIV but the risk, or perceived risk. Messed up kink nonetheless. The Reddit post where I first learned about this had a screenshot from a bug chaser posting on Twitter that they finally found their gift giver and something like he pumped 4 loads in. I feel all warm and fuzzy. Can't wait to see if I'm positive. One of the most unsettling things I've ever read. I regret opening this thread. The deeper into the comments you go, the worse it gets. And yet we continue to hate scroll our way to the bottom. Maybe aggressive sexual cannibalism? I believe there was a German guy who cut off another man's penis, consensually, with the intent to eat it. The other man died from the resulting blood loss. I'd give that as immoral, or just extremely dangerous, reckless, confusing and concerning behavior. Concerning is, certainly a word for it. Call that a dick move. A sex combat to the death, first person to orgasm dies. Mortal Kombat. Hashtag finish him. Take a look at the case of Armin Mivas. Dude had a sexual fantasy of having sex with someone, then killing and eating them, consensually. He was finally able to find someone, Bernd Brands, on a cannibal roleplay forum to kill and eat. They met up, had sex, then Mivas proceeded to kill Brands. I think by the time the authorities found out about Mivas, he had already eaten something like 40 to 50 pounds of Brands' flesh that he had stored. There's a lot more detail to the story, check it out yourself if you want, it's an interesting story to say the least lol. If someone wants to fact check me here, feel free. I remember reading about this. Brands consumed a lot of sleeping pills to knock himself out before getting eaten. Made my stomach churn. They started with the penis which they both ate together before Miyuz actually killed Brands and started eating the rest of him. Good night, Internet. Yeah. I call these a one and done on Reddit. Open the app, read one post and done for the day. German cooking with friend. Turns out he didn't want to cook with me. He wanted to cook me. Egg, and my face, were in alignment. The whole thing was honestly a bit of a damp squid. Breeding fetishes seem pretty immoral. Someone recently posted a selfie to her pic saying that they were stood up for a date so they went to dinner on their own. A look through their post history revealed a breeding fetish, and that this person only saw their own value when they were pregnant. They had 4 kids already. When your fetish involves bringing a life into this world and potentially not being able to provide for them, then I think that crosses into immoral territory. Oh boy, time to break out Urban Dictionary. And sort by controversial. What a terrible day to be literate. I guess promising her dead corpse to a necrophiliac even if you have very defining evidence that the dead person was very happy to become a corpse sex toy. There's something unsettling about starting a statement with "I guess" and then describing something like that in such detail. Reddit can't hold up in court, right? Yo, I hate it here. Feeders are pretty damn immoral. Where someone obese or morbidly nests with someone who is turned on by their weight and tries to fatten them up larger. They are just slowly murdering them. There is zero love there. I watched a documentary about this a few years back in Mother of God. I hate to kink shame, but that shit wasn't right. There was one couple where the guy was coming home with 20 pounds of Taco Bell for dinner and he was planning to build a house for him and his partner, with extra wide door frames and little nooks every few feet in the hallways so that she could sit down and rest as she moved from room to room. During the filming of the episode, the woman was using a mobility scooter to get around, and they watched a home video of her from a few years before saying this is a video of the last time she was able to walk unaided. And the guy was so turned on by it. He had so dehumanized his partner that he didn't even see her as a person and didn't care about her pain. It was awful. Really haunting to watch. There was an episode of My 600-Pound Life where the husband was getting angry as his wife lost weight. He was also obviously a feeder, always encouraging her to eat. Feels like a bunch of the episodes are like that. There's always an enabler who seems like it's more than just enabling. It's so sad to see the enablers on that show and they're all the same. Well, she wanted 25 cupcakes, so what am I supposed to do? Say no? Yes. Say no. Deliberately infecting someone with an STI, even if the person being infected enthusiastically consents. Especially because the newly infected partner may go and infect others who don't know on purpose for pleasure, and if that even newer infected person doesn't know they're infected, it just keeps spreading. Anything that results in long-lasting or permanent injuries. Bruised from BDSM? You'll heal fine, so whatever. Third-degree burns that require medical treatment and will leave permanent scars? Too far. What sexual act even involves that shit? There are people in the BDSM community who partake in branding. I remember reading about a couple who arranged to do it. They had all their friends around, but the person who was supposed to do the branding backed out because the person receiving the branding wasn't in the right place mentally. They eventually did it though, and they have no regrets, or at least didn't at the time. Infidelity. It doesn't involve the betrayed party, but it definitely affects them. And I'd argue there's nothing more immoral than betraying someone's love and trust. Once saw a video of a guy strapped to a table and another guy cutting into his dick and balls with a large knife. Both smiled for the camera. Did this come on after Jeopardy? Sex toys made from ivory. Aphrodisiacs made from rhinoceros horn or tiger penis. Anything that could cause permanent physical or mental damage. You could cum your brains out and get a heart attack from it. There was an episode of House about that. Nickelback orgy. Look at this pornograph. This comment kinda made me laugh. These comments deserve more cred. Who the duck came on Joey's head? And this is where I threw up. And then someone licked it up. Anything dangerous where safety or consequences aren't fully understood. Like trampoline skydiving donning scuba gear, or just general Nitro Circus themed sex stuff? Amputation fetish. There was a doctor in Mexico who did this for a guy who just wanted their arm removed for sexual gratification. It's a violation of the Hippocratic Oath for sure. Anyone in a position of authority with a subordinate. Boss worker, professor student, therapist patient etc. Even if everyone involved is a consenting adult, the power dynamics in those circumstances create ethical dilemmas. I don't know that it'd say it's immoral, more unethical. But close enough.